Hello and welcome to Cody and Corbin Have a Podcast, the show where two former roommates
And they were roommates.
talk about a new movie every week. But this week on the show, we're making movies. Hey, It's time to make some movies. And you know what? Listen, Cody and I, we're not the most creative people. So we needed a little bit of help to produce some films. And in the modern digital age, where do you turn? Artificial intelligence, obviously. This is not about the 2001, Cody? What year did that movie come out? Yeah, AI. 2000. AI. It is not a story of Haley Joel Osment. You said he reminds you of Macaulay Culkin, which is confusing. Very just because he's a child. This is not the Jude Law, William Hurt, Brendan Gleeson 2001 sci-fi drama AI. Of course, written and directed by the Spielberg man himself. This is a whole new thing. This is modern AI. This is real shit. We're making movies. So, as always, I'm your host, Corbin's Vocal, and I'm joined by my co-host, who may or may not be a robot, Cody Webb. Cody, how are we doing?
I could be a robot. Waited a long time for that intro, but appreciate it.
We jumped the gun a little bit.
No, I think it's going to be a great episode. You definitely set the scene, I think, pretty perfectly there. This is by far our best guess I think we can get. So bringing the AI, KHAP's up to a new level here, but I'm excited, man. It should be fun.
Yeah, I mean, this is May Mania. As always, we're bringing in guests constantly, and the guest of this episode is AI. It's funny. This past weekend, I graduated from Purdue, and Mitch Daniels was giving, his address or whatever, and the whole thing was about how like AI is going to take over the world, and it was a little old manny, maybe a little concerning, but I guess I took that to heart and I said, well, what can we do with AI in a positive way? And I, make a podcast out of it, I guess is the answer.
You were inspired by that speech.
Yeah. I guess maybe you could say there was some inspiration, something. Yeah. He inspired me to do something.
Coming in clutch for your podcast ideas. I love it, dude. What else did you ask for a president, honestly?
If I got anything out of the president of my university, it was that he gave me a podcast idea. So shout out Mitch Daniels. Maybe he'll come on the pod sometime.
Oh, I think he would come on easily, honestly.
I mean, yeah, he's a big fan. I've actually heard a couple times that he shouted us out. So
come on down, Mitch. We're ready.
So before we explain what we're doing here, it is May Mania. We have to recommend an old episode. Cody, what episode are we recommending?
Well, that's tough. Actually, I was listening to some the other day. I listened to the Holes episode, but I also listened to one of my favorite ones, and that was the Fast Five episode. Oh. I think that was a good one. From season one, I think, near the end half of that, I think there's some pretty good episodes.
Season 1, episode 9, Fast Five.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's my rec for this week.
Yeah, go check it out. Not the last time we'll probably ever do a Fast and Furious movie on this podcast.
God.
Probably eyeing one in the future. So
yeah, I really don't want to do that, but all right. Tough.
There's been a tumultuous production and filming for that movie. I'm sure there's a ton to talk about. I mean, the Fast and Furious franchise doesn't get any better than that. So here's the idea. Here's what we're doing today. So essentially, Cody and I, it's a little bit of a KHAP is going from just a podcasting operation to a movie studio, basically. Yep. And our goal is to have 2 movies that we want to produce and make at the end of this podcast. So Cody and I are going to separate for a little bit. We're going to go and do our own thing. We're going to make a movie. We're going to come back and pitch it to each other. The other one is going to kind of grill them. We're a business partnership. We're a creative partnership. We want to, get the best out of each other. We want to make sure that we're making something that's the best possible product. Listen, we don't have original ideas. So we have this website, boredhumans.com/movie_plots.php, that when you go to it, it gives you 3 random movie generated plots from an artificial intelligence. We get 3 choices. We are going to pick one of those 3, and then we are going to build our movie around that. So to do that, first we're going to pick a genre, kind of flush out the plot a little bit, pick a setting, decide where we would want to film it, cast the movie, or at least our top 3 build casts, so a main character and 2 supporting, unless the plot of the movie requires us to have less or more people for some reason. We're going to decide who's going to actually write the movie. We're going to hire a screenwriter. We're going to hire a director to direct the movie. We're going to pick where the movie gets released because we have a ton of power. This is KHAP Studios. We get to decide, were we going to do the full theatrical run? Or are we going to Apple TV Plus? There's so many options in the modern world. Maybe we'll just post it on YouTube. Who knows? And then we'll give a couple examples of kind of the movie, inspiration or mood, kind of a mood board for what we want to see. So, in the Batman, they said it was Chinatown and Seven, and in the Winter Soldier, it was all these old spy movies. So when we make our ridiculous movie, what, are we going to relate it to Citizen Kane or Taxi Driver or who knows? It's hard to say. And then finally, if there's just anything additional that we want to share, if there's like a symbolism or a motif or a theme or a color that we really want to be prevalent throughout the movie, we'll share that. And then it's kind of opens the floor to questions. So one of us will present first, Cody will present. Then it kind of opens the floor to me of, hey, I'm going to grill you. Is this movie going to work? Let me poke some holes in it. Because at the end of the day, we're just trying to make something that's amazing. So should be an interesting episode to listen to. I hope we can come up with something that's funny and is a good time. And we can have a wild little discussion about movies that we want to make.
I agree. No, well said, first off. And I think just the general thing is you want to get a sense of what our movie's going to be. It's not the finished product, obviously. It's going to be 10 minutes worth. So no crazy expectations. But I think at the end as well, we should definitely do a poll and see which movie, like people
would rather watch.
Yeah.
I think we can make it a little bit of a friendly competition as well. But any help that we provide, if you come in and you say, hey, I want to cast Dave Bautista as the lead in my role, and I say to you, well, Cody, I think Mahershala Ali might be the move, and you go, damn, that's actually a really great thought. There's a chance to change. It's not finalized, right? We're helping each other, but it's also a competition. The last thing, and maybe I didn't quite hit this, so we're gonna break up, and we're setting a timer. So we're saying 10 minutes. We have 10 minutes to figure this out. So I think that's kind of the other thing that makes it difficult.
It was more like 18.
It's not, we get to prepare for this for a couple days. We're thinking about it. We're brainstorming. Like, we're about to get our plot here in about 30 seconds, and it's go time.
You better come up with something real fast, because if not, gonna be out of time like that. But I think that's what will make it more interesting, because it's just off the cuff. But yeah.
So why don't we go ahead and get into it? We're gonna cut to little individual recordings. They might be pretty short. It's probably not gonna be the full 10 minutes, but we might share some of our thoughts as we're crafting these ideas for each other, and then you'll listen to that, and then we'll come back and we'll present our ideas.
Let's do it. Get hyped.
Now you'll listen to an edited version of an audio recording that I made while making this movie.
All right, it's Corbin here. I just opened up the movie plot generator, and I'm going to look at my 3 plots. We have number 748, a young woman from a rich English family moves to a remote village for a quiet life, but when she learns she's pregnant, she loses everything that keeps her from taking care of the baby, and she's forced to leave her village to live on a remote island alone. The village inhabitants have a new attitude and a sense of community. That sounds very creepy. I could see Robert Eggers doing like The Witch with Anya Taylor-Joy, maybe like an A24 horror movie very similar to this. Not sure if I want to go with that though. An elderly man who is on the payroll of a local gang is hired to look after his father, who has just returned from his last tour. So he can... that's a little strange, because it's an elderly man and his dad just got back from tour. And it seems like tour in the military, but maybe I could adjust this to be like his son returns. A couple's attempt to take advantage of their new bride's desperate and mysterious condition after being duped by a man at a restaurant. Now that's got like no plot to it. So to be entirely honest, I'm going to go with the second one. And it's movie plot number 404. An elderly man who is on the payroll of a local gang is hired to look after his father, who has just returned from his last tour, so he can continue his father's business activities. So I'm just going to change the beginning elderly man. So I'm going to change an elderly man who's on the payroll of a local gang is hired to look after... I just looked over at Cody's face, and he's really spinning a tale for you guys right now. So
I appreciate that. I'm struggling with. I want to use this, but I do need to change it. I'm kind of just been sitting here thinking of like how to change the wording of this. Maybe it's hired to look after his uncle. An elderly man who's on the payroll of a local game is hired to look after his brother, who's just returned. His younger brother, who just returned from his last tour in Iraq, in Afghanistan. Younger stepbrother. So this is going to be like a younger stepbrother set in the city of Boston. He comes back. So this is great. I'm thinking set in Boston for sure. The genre, I'm thinking kind of like crime, thriller, comedy is genre. Okay, so setting. It's gonna be set in Boston. I'm looking up, have they ever set a movie in Boston but not filmed in Boston? I'm sure it's been done, but I feel like I gotta film in Boston. So we're gonna film in Boston and set in Boston. I think it would be really funny to be like, I'm filming in Toronto, but this is like a Boston movie. Because clearly I'm gonna put Robert De Niro, which is funny because he's not really a Boston guy, but he's gonna be the old guy that's kind of up in the gang. His younger brother is gonna be Michael B. Jordan, his stepbrother. Which I know is, see, that I'm getting kind of like the wrong city people to end up in Boston, but I think that's kind of why it works out, because I want this to be like a movie set in Boston, but it's about like the ideas of like immigrants or like aliens and foreigners. I want it to feel like against the city and, you know, against the archetype. Who makes movies like this anymore? Because it's like an adult crime thriller. You know, I'm thinking, I'm gonna say, give example The Town, just because I think that's best captures the city in the way that I want it to, like really dirty. I think the Departed might better, to be honest. The Departed does it better with like cops, but I think The Town does it better with like low life type people. What are some other movies set in The Social Network, of course. Ooh, Mystic River. There's a classic. It's a classic Boston movie. Manchester by the Sea. Yeah, I mean, I think in terms of movies set in Boston, I guess I'm seeing that there's probably some like Gran Torino type similarities here. The thing about Gran Torino is like it's a movie about like race and accepting race, but then like Clint Eastwood was super racist during the most of its filming, even though, and he was the director and the main guy. Clint Eastwood directing this movie, that would be interesting. So the young stepbrother is Michael B. Jordan. Maybe it's like a nephew. Ooh. So I'm going back and I'm going to change it to nephew. So it's going to be like he's coming. So in the original thing, it says, returned from his last tour in Afghanistan to continue his father's business activities. So maybe it's like Michael B. Jordan went and left. His father died. He's coming back to like take over his business that, you know, Robert De Niro's been running for him in lieu of him. But he's been working with the gang, and Michael B. Jordan doesn't want to be involved in that, essentially, is probably. I definitely want a female character in here. I think 3 as a cast is kind of small. But I don't want to just like be like a love interest. But we could do like a little bit of a Romeo and Juliet where she's like a kind of a part of the gang. You know, it's kind of, I'm kind of doing like the sister of Dom thing, like the Mia Toretto thing right now. A little bit. I kind of see that's kind of what's happening for that character. And I don't know if that's not really what I want either. Like, maybe it's you know, you find out at the end that she's been running it the whole time, but you don't know that because it's like a masked figure. So, you know, I feel like I should move this out of Boston, to be honest. Maybe it would make sense in a different city. What's kind of like a funny city to like set a gang in, or like Minneapolis or something. Charlotte, that could be interesting. Set a movie in Charlotte, North Carolina. I've heard good things about Charlotte. I don't want to, I mean, set it in Indianapolis. No. Portland. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I was saying it. like Fresno, California. That'd be so funny. It's like the local street game. Minneapolis has 400,000 people. Minneapolis is that small, much smaller than Indianapolis. That's crazy, actually. Yeah, Minneapolis. Screw it. It's not the capital because that's St. Paul. It's the Twin City, Minneapolis. It's the harsher side, right? I don't know if that's actually true, but it's going to be set in Minneapolis, which is probably Minnesota. I don't know about their union laws. I'm going to say we're going to film in Toronto, Vancouver, because a lot of people film there, and I feel like it's probably not that different from Minneapolis. We're going to film in Vancouver. Dude gets back from his tour in Afghanistan. Michael B wants to do good. His uncle is on payroll. What's the resolution? Big gunfight. Final scene.
That's technically been time, but
Yeah, I'm just coming up with character names at this point. It's I'm pretty much done.
give me like 2 minutes.
Okay. I'm terrible at coming up with names, bro.
All right, so I hit time. I kind of got caught up in the whole plot of this thing, so I really got to get going on it. I need to pick a screenwriter and a director. You know, I was saying Michelle Rodriguez earlier, I think. Fast and Furious. Maybe Michelle Rodriguez is not a bad idea. All right, so I actually feel really unconfident. Fuck, who's going to release this? I mean, this has got to be a theatrical. It's got to be a theatrical release, Warner Brothers. I need to find a screenwriter. Oh, you know, actually, who I do want to write this movie? David Ayer, which is funny because I think he's a bad writer-director, but I actually think as a writer, he can be really good. So, this is bad. Okay. Now you'll listen to an edited version of an audio recording that Cody made while making this movie.
This is going to be a fun one. All right, we need to get right into this. Okay, so this movie plot generator, it gives you 3 options. Look at the relationship between a poor farmer and an African refugee in the early 90s. Held to fall in love. That's boring. A man's life is in danger. While looking for his next girlfriend, he encounters a criminal. Okay, the other one. The British are hunting 3 men who have become an undercover team. The group of men led by young and enigmatic Captain Jack Cooper are terrorizing the town with high-tech snipers. Their main target is a soldier who happens to be a woman. Jack, on the other hand, is a young and seemingly innocent man. He's very well adjusted and has good grasp on his surroundings, and even manages to avoid being shot in the head by one of his snipers. It all seems to be for naught. What? Oh man, this is chalked. Okay, I'm gonna go with a man's life is in danger. While looking for his next girlfriend, he encounters a criminal. I've wasted a lot of time doing that too, so that's not good. Okay, what do I want to inspire this? I'll start with that. A man's life is in danger. Looking for his ex-girlfriend. Sort of a bit of a rom-com, I'm thinking here. But then it goes deep into action. Gerard Butler rom-com. Okay, we got The Ugly Truth. We've got The Bourne Identity. And then we got Casino Royale. So we're going a little bit James Bond, a little bit Bourne. But with that rom-com more of a factor, I think, here. Okay, I like that. So this he's in some serious danger here. I kind of like Mission Impossible actually more than James Bond. Let's switch that out because it's not completely clashing. So let's go Fallout, Mission Impossible. Good movie. Just want Henry Cavill. So those are our 3 movies. A rom-com, Mission Impossible, Bourne Identity movie. So quick hand-to-hand combat here. We want that. Those quick Bourne cuts. Mission Impossible as we want the team. That's what we want from there, the team. Big team, great cast. The Ugly Truth, that's where the rom-com comes in. That's just straight up from the plot they gave me. So let's go over this again. A man's life is in danger. While looking for his next girlfriend, he encountered a criminal. So he's in danger, but he's looking for a girlfriend. Who's my lead? Who is my lead? I said Henry Cavill. I think he'd be a great James Bond here. So I'm going to go with him. He keeps the mustache, obviously. He keeps cocking his fucking fists. I mean, if that's not a good James Bond, I don't know. I like Idris Elba a lot, too, to be fair. Let's just stick him in this cast. So Idris Elba is going to be his boss. Idris Elba. I always say his name wrong, too. Is it Elba? I don't know. He's the boss. Give me a Marky Mark Wahlberg impression from The Departed. So he's just a real dick. Give me the Boston accent, too. Why not? Okay, so Idris Elba's his boss. Who's his girlfriend? This is a big cast here. I like Emily Blunt. I like Rebecca Ferguson, but that's too much Mission Impossible. I could say Amy Adams. Amy Adams is one of my all-time favorite actresses, if you listen to that episode. Margot Robbie, that's a great cast, always. You know what? I just thought of somebody else. I'm gonna go with Ana de Armas. I think she is a superstar. Very excited for the Marilyn Monroe movie, and she's a badass. I mean, she was just in the Bond movie, so I guess I typecasted her. I don't care. We can maybe change that because I forgot she's in that. Typecast. She's really good in War Dogs, though. Bring that up. Okay, director. Who do I want? A man's life is in danger, so we want the intensity, but he needs to be able to do action as well, and rom-com. You know, I could be just Marvel biased here, but I think the Russo brothers might be able to pull that off. And, I mean, the Winter Soldier, obviously, for that Bourne, they have a little rom-com in them. They did a lot of sitcom stuff, and they're great with teams. Civil War, one of my favorite MCU movies. So, kind of makes sense, even though like a Marvel bias. Okay, screenwriter. Who's writing this movie? I'm just going to go with Sorkin. Why not, dude? If you're not picking Sorkin, I mean, what are you doing? Okay, where release? Fucking everywhere, bro. Who's producing this? I guess Disney could. We're going to the mouse. I want, it might be a little bit too violent for Disney, though. So they might stick it in, one of the lower divisions they bought off, like Vogue. We'll give it to the mouse. Okay, we need character names. We forgot about that. Where's the setting at as well? That's pretty important stuff here. So we've got mostly British and actors and stuff. Let's just make it in the U.S., though. What city do we want to? Could go London. Okay. Again, I'm going against what I said. How about a British? Yeah, but they have that already. I keep forgetting James Bond exists out here. Okay, I think we have a little bit of time here. We could go Moscow, but the accents will be bad. It's just everywhere, but let's just have it be in Boston. We can't do Boston. LA, not really. It's not a big West Coast city. What about like Portland? That's such a cool city to film in as well. Portland, we film there too. So there's going to be rain. The Batman vibes, 7 vibes. Ending where they kiss in the rain. I mean, beautiful stuff there. I guess this doesn't even really describe a spy movie that I'm thinking about it. A man's life's in danger while looking for his next girlfriend. He encounters a criminal. That's not really what I'm making here. I'm making a spy movie. Okay, so his life's in danger while he's looking for his next girlfriend. He encounters a criminal. How does he meet his girlfriend? We're just going back to plot here. So he's in danger. So he's being hunted because he's a spy. Okay, there you go. Hunted because he's a super spy. Where is it? And he's looking for his girlfriend. He wants to settle down, basically. To save the world. He has to, he says, no, he gets an ultimatum from his old boss who he double-crossed. If he can find a wife in, what, like 4 months? 3 months? How about that? Then he will let him go because he has no heart. So he's on the prowl, basically, and he meets Ana de Armas just on the run, straight up, because he doesn't believe it. What's Ana de Armas? She could be like an MMA fighter or something. What's something where she could kick some ass, low-key, but it's like not. She like kickboxes on the side, or she's just a straight-up vigilante. I think I like that more, actually. What if she just, let's make this comic booky. It's the fucking Russo brothers. Who is she? She's not like a Black Widow. That's boring. Like a Mockingjay type. She's sort of like that, like Bobby from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Okay. He encounters a criminal. Who's the criminal? Oh, it's Idris Elba, who is his boss. I set that up and I didn't even think about it. Idris Elba's the bad guy. Unbelievable. Idris Elba, he comes in and just messes stuff up. Same character from Hobbs and Shaw. He's Black Superman. So we're set on plot. Superman. So this genre, it's like comic booky, hand-to-hand combat, rom-com. So maybe we should get rid of... Yeah, we need to get rid of Mission Impossible because we don't really have a team. So what comic book movie does this kind of remind you of? Like Shang-Chi a little bit. What about like The Crow for the cinematography too? Sort of like a darker shot movie. Not really similar tone because it's light. The Crow's pretty serious. But sort of that vibe. Sort of that supernatural comic book vibe at time. Okay, I like that instead of Mission Impossible. Let's fire off some names here. Who is Henry Cavill playing? He's a super spy being hunted. What's his name? I think we go with a J here. I'm thinking Johnny. Maybe Jimmy. I like Johnny, though. Last name, Johnny Jeffers. No, that's bad. Johnny. Maybe not Johnny. This is the hardest part. Just think of a random name.
Oh, man. Oh, mine is a mess.
Mine is also not great. I can say the timer was a little bit hard. Honestly, my biggest area of struggle was the plot, and that like I hadn't really read, like, these choices didn't make sense, like the three of them.
Mhm.
So I kind of had to take one of them and then like change it a little bit to make into something that was like coherent, and then also try and build a story around that. And it should be interesting. Was that kind of your feeling too, or?
Yeah, 100%. I think one of the hardest parts was just figuring out which plot you want to go off of a little bit, and what sort of movie you're going to get out of that. I struggled off that at the beginning, and yeah, I mean, I didn't even really follow the plot that much that they gave me, if I'm being completely honest. But
I changed
yeah.
some pivotal words around. I kind of explained it in my
Mhm.
voiceover, so you'll hear that there, kind of what options we had, and then maybe some changes we made. But let's just get into the whole presentation of it all.
Let's do it.
Oh, you know what we didn't do is I didn't pick a title for this film.
Oh, I did not either. Okay.
How about we'll name it together? That'll be our
Okay.
okay. First things first, this is a crime comedy thriller is like the genre, I would say.
Okay.
Comedy thriller, comedy crime, whatever. So here's the plot that was kind of written and then I changed. So an elderly man who is on the payroll of a local gang is hired to look after his young nephew who has just returned from his last tour in Afghanistan so that he can take over his father's business activity. So essentially what happened here is that you have this older guy who owned a business with his brother, or helped his brother with a business. The son of the brother is this kid that's off in Afghanistan fighting. The dad dies while he's fighting in the war. So the uncle's been running the business and's gotten into some shady stuff with a local gang. And the kid's back now because he's going to take it over. It's his rightful business. It's his father's business. And the gang is not happy about this. They know he's a straight-laced guy. He's a military guy. He's going to come in and he's going to not like what's happening. So they pay the old guy some more money to be like, hey, you look after him and make sure, things don't go south, or he doesn't, he stops working with us, or, something goes wrong. Admittedly, there is a love interest that comes into play.
Of course.
And spoiler alert, she's also the leader of the gang. So he falls in love with this girl that he does not know is the leader of the gang. She goes by the Jewel and she wears a mask.
So it's kind of like West Side Story.
Yeah. It's a little Romeo and Juliet, if you want to take it back to the source. Is it a little like West Side Story? Yeah. No, if you listen to my notes, I said, we get a little Romeo and Juliet action in there, but he's not a part of the gang in the sense but she is the bad guy and he falls in love with her. And then you have that, realization maybe 3/4 through the movie where he realizes that she's the one that, has been causing him all these problems and is going against him. In the end, it ends in a big, final fight scene where he has to kill her, kills the woman he loves. He fences her to death.
Jesus, this is a dark movie.
Well, there's like, so
it's gotta be rated R.
Yeah. So it's gonna be rated R. The thing is, like, the gang is really bad. Like, they're into some bad stuff. They're not, he finds out they're killing puppies or something, or they're doing dog fighting. Like, I don't know. It's you don't like him. You're okay that he's taken this stand. It takes a very stupid turn, I would say, about halfway through. It's not very violent or graphic in the main character. Like, you don't really see a lot of action, I guess is what I would say in the first half. I would say there's some flashbacks, some military flashbacks that might happen.
Off the bat here.
And you might see some like violence from the gang, but it's not like big action set pieces until that second half when he's like, a turn happens and he's like, I'm fucking taking this shit down myself.
Okay. So the first half, it's like intimidating violence a little bit, They're shaking everybody down.
They're breaking hands. It's like The Departed. They're smacking, and you're probably wondering where this is set, right?
I would like to know that for sure. Yeah.
Obviously, it's set in Minneapolis, Minnesota, which is like so. The
What
thing
a
is, like,
terrible choice.
because it's like I feel like if you go to like a big city, you like run the risk of like there's kind of already like some gang violence and like there's things and there's people and especially like I was originally gonna set this in Boston, but then it's like there's a lot of like racial and cultural stuff that like goes back to a lot of the gangs. And I just kind of like wanted to completely avoid that. So I just picked like a random like mid-level, like a city that's populous in its state, but isn't really that populous in general. Like there's crime in Minneapolis, I'm sure, but it's probably not on a level. I also like this idea of being like, it's, St. Paul and Minneapolis. It's like a twin city, maybe the dark stuff happens in Minneapolis. I don't know if that's true. I didn't do any research. Maybe it's the other way around, but like
it's an okay choice.
My idea is that.
What if you set it in Florida, dude? What if you set it in like Miami? That'd be nasty.
That could be fun. And I think that probably makes a lot more sense for the rest of what's about to happen. But the big thing is I wanted to film in Vancouver, so I don't know, Miami.
So it's just gonna be winter. That's it.
Well, I guess we could make that happen. But here's my cast. So first of all, you got the old man who at the beginning of the film you think is maybe the main character, and then it transitions away from a little bit. Old guy actors. I mean, it doesn't probably get any better than Robert De Niro, right? So
yeah, that's the obvious choice.
Little gang activity. Give me Bobby D. And he's gonna play a character named Frank.
Yeah.
And then
also, I just realized, isn't this movie kind of like The Godfather?
Never seen it, so couldn't tell you.
Okay, fair enough. Keep going.
I can't steal from something I've never seen. So
what's Frank's last name?
Darabont.
For Frank Darabont. Can't use that either. Okay.
Is that taken?
I think so, yeah.
Darn. The director of Shawshank Redemption.
Yeah, I know who Frank Darabont is.
I don't know. I didn't pick last names because it's not about your family name. His nephew is gonna be played. Are you ready for this? Take a guess. Just guess.
Timothy Chalamet.
Michael B. Jordan.
Okay, that's good. I like that casting.
Yeah. And then the Jewel, also known as Michelle. Mm-hmm. Oh, sorry, Michael B. Jordan's name is just gonna be Michael. And playing Michelle is Michelle Rodriguez. So
you lost me. You cast Michelle Rodriguez in a serious movie?
The problem is like this role, you need a little bit of an action star, and Angelina Jolie.
Those Zazie Beetz, bro.
See, this is where collaboration. This is where collaboration comes in. Zazie Beetz. There you go.
Michelle Rodriguez is she's getting old, isn't she?
Well, I was saying that, but I looked up. She's only 43. Like, I still feel like that.
Only 43.
No, like I thought she was gonna be in her 50s, and I was like, yeah, I probably can't use her. But I think being like 43, she can play a little bit younger. She can fit into this role. And the idea, she doesn't need to be some young, thing. Like my idea is, I mean, Michael B. Jordan, he's old. He's in his 30s.
Yeah, I'd say she's a little bit older, but I mean that works.
I mean, yeah, he's older, but that's what I'm saying. We can do it. Like, who says that we need Michael Jordan's 35, so she's like 7 years older. He's gonna be, maybe not back from a tour in Afghanistan, but like he's a higher level in the military or something. We'll figure it out how to make
a sergeant.
Yeah, sure. I don't know.
He can train the guys who are going to war.
This movie is going to be written by David Ayer and directed by Justin Lin.
I like that.
It's got to be
really going for Fast and Furious vibes here then. If you're throwing Justin Lin in.
Yeah. Well, some maybe
he works well with Michelle Rodriguez too.
Well, that's the thing. I was kind of before I wanted to put the female love interest kind of in the bad guy role, and then I kind of thought about it and I was like, oh, am I just doing, because I was gonna do like the sister, and I was like, oh, I'm just doing Fast and Furious.
Yeah.
And I was like, so she's gonna be the leader of the gang instead. But
so
then
is this a serious movie or no? Because you have Justin Lin directing it, but
it's a comedy.
Is it a comedy?
Comedy thriller. Yeah.
I didn't get that from the plot at all. I forgot you said that. The plot was intense.
Sorry, Michael B. Jordan has a wisecracking parrot that he carries around. Like, is that what you want? Like, I don't know.
Parrot. I'd probably say no to the parrot.
He's animated. It's like an animated wisecracking parrot.
There was no like
that only he can see, and it's like it's a conversation on like PTSD, and it's actually really sad.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was thinking. Like, this is an intense, sad movie. You can bring so many aspects with the war as well.
The biggest problem is when I came back and I was like, hey, I need a couple more minutes, and the timer had already gone off. I hadn't picked a screenwriter, I hadn't picked a director. I still needed to cast my third woman. So you can see where all these things came.
Okay. I get that. That makes more sense.
Given some more, okay, let's work this out then as a team. Who you like the David Ayer? I mean, that's a serious writer.
Yeah, David Ayer's is good.
He's had his ups and downs in his career, but I love like Into Watch and obviously Suicide Squad is undefeated. So who would be a better director? I don't want him to direct it. I think he's better when he's just a writer.
Okay. Well, you definitely need somebody more serious, I would think, even if it has a comedic underlying, which I think would work. But I don't know how Justin Lin qualifies for anything you said there.
I almost thought, have you seen The Old Guard on Netflix?
No.
I was thinking maybe who directed that could be the person.
What about Catherine Bigelow? So you got a little bit of The Hurt Locker, but she's also done Point Break. So
that's true.
She can do the serious war stuff.
I mean, that's basically Fast and Furious. So there it is. Catherine Bigelow.
That's true.
I like
Point Break is Fast and Furious.
There we go. Catherine Bigelow. Okay, cool. That's fun. And we're gonna do Zazie Beetz as well. All right.
Okay.
Then, like I said, it's got to have a theatrical release. I think it's a Warner Brothers film. Maybe it shows up on HBO Max after The Word. Here were my inspiration movies, and they kind of like I wrote them down as I like developed one idea of the plot, and then I kind of moved away from it and I went to a different thing, and I wrote down a different movie. So maybe if you can combine these three films together, they kind of get the vibes. Because something I didn't touch on is I said I don't want it to be like race or ethnically based, but I think there definitely is like a conversation or a moment to be had there where like you have Robert De Niro as like this white old uncle, and then like his brother married like a black woman and had like Michael B. Jordan, and maybe it was like a point of contention in the family. And I definitely think there's an interesting conversation and something that could be included in here potentially. If done properly. And I don't know if David Ayer is really the right director for that, probably.
Writer. But I mean,
David Ayer is probably not the right writer for that, but I would suspect Michael B. Jordan's going to act as a producer on this film as well. So he could get some creative input in there possibly.
Yeah, I think you're going for best picture here. Honestly, I think that it's a good mix.
So
sort of that Oscar baity stuff.
But here are my three inspiration movies.
Yeah.
So, the first one was going to be Tokyo Drift, but Justin Lin's gone, so we're going to replace that with Point Break.
Okay, nice.
Because that makes more sense. Yeah. And then Gran Torino, because it's kind of like the old guy with the younger, and there's some race stuff there. I talked about the fact that, and it's also like old guy who was like a legend of their time, kind of coming in and doing a thing with some younger people. You get a little bit of a war story there as well. It's about an older veteran kind of connecting with people. It's obviously different, but there's some ideas and themes.
Vibes. Should have gone with the mule instead.
I almost put Clint Eastwood in this, but the problem is that even when he directed Gran Torino, he was still being racist to the people, even though he was making a movie about not being racist. So that's a kind of a bad look. So and then the last one is to get the organized crime aspect. I wanted to go Sopranos, and here's the reason: is because the Sopranos, while it was a dark show, it highlighted the mafia a lot. There's a couple things about it. First of all, it was very honest. It was very raw about a lot of emotional stuff. The whole plot of the show is based around the fact that Tony Soprano has an anxiety disorder and he's going to therapy for it. And that's kind of the catalyst point in the very first episode is him having a panic attack. So first of all, just like mental health, and like there's an interesting discussion there with the Sopranos and like the way that fits into organized crime and like the people it affects. So I think that's really interesting, and that kind of plays into this. And then the other thing is like that's known to be like one of the realest examples of organized crime. So I want to create something that is like somewhat real and possible, not something completely fantastical. I know I'm getting a little crazy with that with the Jewel and Minneapolis and all this stuff, but I do still want something to be that's like seems really real and authentic. So The Sopranos is my third choice.
Yeah, I think those are pretty good choices actually to be inspired from. But do we want to try and name your movie?
Yeah. What's the name?
I think we should theme it something around crime and Minneapolis, because there's no movie set in Minneapolis.
Like the Twin City.
How about just like twin crime?
Well, there's no twins in the movie. If there was a twin,
Yeah, but it's a reference to Twin City,
A Tale of Two Cities.
a tale of the Twin City. That's kind of cool.
Like the thing is, like with stories like this, I feel like the names always come from like so like in the movie, like for example, Gran Torino is like named after the car that he's like obsessed with. So like I feel like this movie would just be named like whatever the name of the shop is. The flower shop. I feel it's a flower shop. So
Okay, just name it the flower shop. There you go.
there you go. The flower shop. That's a good name.
Great name. All right, I think that was a pretty good pitch, actually. All things considered.
You helped me find it, I would say. So that's what this is all about.
I'll give myself a little bit of credit there. I'm not gonna lie, because Justin Lin's a terrible choice. But I like the plot a lot. Your plot's 10 times better than mine. So
Okay, let's
I'll
hear
give
it.
you some props here. All right, we going into mine. Oh man. Okay, this is gonna be bad. Here we go. So the plot that I'll give you the little thread just straight up that they gave me that I used off the top. So this is the thread they said. A man's life is in danger. While looking for his next girlfriend, he encounters a criminal. So from this is my basic plot, except I've thrown in a big thing of it's a spy like comic book movie genre, like team up almost. So the genre in general, yeah, it's like hand-to-hand combat, some spy stuff, a little bit comic booky, and it's also a rom-com. So we're throwing together a lot of genres here. It's give my plot. It's a doozy. So basically, we start the movie on this one guy, the main character played by Henry Cavill, who I think is a great cast. He keeps the mustache.
Mission Impossible. Yeah.
He keeps the mustache from Mission Impossible. He also keeps cocking his fists like he does in
Hell
Mission
yeah.
Impossible. But basically, he's like any other character he does. He's like a super spy on the run. And basically, he's on the run because his boss, he just turned on him. It's like a spy organization. He turned on his boss, blah, blah, blah. It didn't work out. His boss is still in power. But basically, the ultimatum, it's kind of a goofy start to the movie. His boss, they were like good friends. So his boss is like, all right, since we go way back, I'll give you an ultimatum. I know you're a dick. I know you have no heart. If you go out there and you find a wife in 3 months, then I'll let you live. So now we throw in a little bit of the Santa Claus 2 vibes, if you've seen that movie.
Yeah. I was thinking we were going to go like We're the Millers routes, like go down to Mexico and get me 30 pounds of weed and drive them back up here, and then we'll be chill.
Yeah, that'd probably be good, but I don't want to rip off, We're the Millers too much. So
good movie.
That was a good movie. Jennifer Aniston. But basically, he says, okay, whatever. He just goes on the run. He doesn't believe this guy, obviously, because he's a super spy and everything. And when he's on the run, he finally gets caught. Oh, also, I didn't even mention the bad guy boss. He's played by Idris Elba. And basically, I just want Idris doing like a Mark Wahlberg impression from The Departed. So he's a complete dick. We can keep it Boston, honestly, because that's really funny. I was also you can maybe help me out on this. I was thinking maybe like a South African Don Cheadle vibes from like Ocean's 11. I think either of those would definitely work.
You don't want him to do his Baltimore The Wire?
That would also be good. Also, his character from The Office you might as well just do that too. Just throw every character he's done that's been good in the past. But I kind of like the Mark Wahlberg impression just because it's funny. But yeah, he's hunting him. Basically, he's about to catch him, but then the third lead comes in, and it's Ana de Armas. And
hell yeah.
Yeah, this is where it gets a little bit comic booky. So she comes in. She's basically just like a vigilante. Think of like this is like Nightwing, like 5 years in, basically. Like she's not Batman, but she's a fucking badass. So she comes in, saves his ass. They fall in love, blah blah blah. They're on the run. It's just great rom-com action, a lot of hand-to-hand, quick cuts. And then you have a spy movie integrated in as well. So it's kind of clashing those two genres of comic booky and spy, and then bringing it all in together at the end of a love story. But my setting as well, I forgot to mention that. I'm going Portland. You went for, a bit of a smaller city. And I think Portland is a big city in the U.S. that doesn't have a ton of movies in it, which kind of sucks. Obviously, you have like, I was going to say Sleepless in Seattle, but that's not in Portland.
Twilight's
yeah, whatever.
in Washington. That's in Forks, Washington. Portland is like the only reason I steered away from like that. First of all, it's just rainy and dreary there all the time, which can be good. It's also
that's
like
exactly what I want.
The whitest city in America. So
okay. Well, we got we're changing that with the cast anyways. But tough on Portland. Any Portland listeners, you just got sauce there. But yeah, basically, it's gonna be like a dreary sort of looking movie. So it's gonna have a little bit of a darker, like filmmaking set. I'll get into that more on my inspirations, but it's always gonna be raining. The big climax, they kiss in the rain, super, cliche and everything. Can't talk still. But yeah, my characters, forgot to give them their names. So Henry Cavill, he's playing Joe. The protagonist. He's a little bit lonely on the run.
Joe who? What's his last name?
His name's John. What were you thinking it was?
Joe John.
Yeah. So Joe John, super spy. It's basically like the new James Bond code name, Joe John. But
we need to work on it. We got to work on that.
Yeah, probably. But yeah, he's nearing the end of his career, sort of like
Joe Freeze.
No, that's terrible. He's sort of like, it's got to be cool, like James Bond, like a super spy. Can't be some fucking stupid name. But yeah, basically, he's looking to settle down. It's whatever James Bond movie it is. I feel like it's all the Daniel Craig ones where he's like, "Oh, I'm finally gonna, settle down and marry a girl at the end," and then the next one he gets thrown in somehow.
Yeah, that's not what happens at the end of this one, but
yeah, true. But and then Ana de Armas, she's playing Abby Westeros.
What about Joe Morgan?
That's no. That name's been used before. It's the same famous baseball player.
Joe Cooper.
That's from Interstellar, bro. He's not gonna be Coop.
Joe Jones.
Is that Joe John? All right, we're sticking with
Joe Jones is better than Joe John.
That's like
John is a first name.
John Jones Bones, though. That's too close.
Whose last name is John?
Cool people, okay? Joe John.
Mr. John. If you gave him a different first name, John would be okay.
You can just call him JJ. Maybe that's the title of the movie, JJ.
Like Richard.
That one's not
bad.
You
could call him Dick John.
No. Okay. So Abby Westeros, that's the character's name for Ana de Armas. She's sort of like
a shout out to Game of Thrones.
It is Westeros, yeah. And like I said, she's been established like 5 years in, but she's kind of looking for a way out too. So
what's her like? Does she have a vigilante name?
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't narrow that down. It's sort of like she has a costume it's like a bird theme, like Mockingjay.
Maybe something Portland themed.
No, Portland's lame. But I mean the Mockingjay, sort of like. Have you seen Agents of
like
S.H.I.E.L.D.?
what's a bird and?
Well, Mockingjay is the actual character in the MCU, so we probably couldn't use that. What about like Canary?
what's a bird that lives
Canary,
in Portland?
That's DC.
That's what I'm saying. A bird that lives in Portland.
What do they have, like pelicans? I don't know.
She could be the woodpecker.
Okay, I like that. She's got a little red helmet thing going on. I dig.
She punches people really fast in the face. It's like her thing.
That's pretty good too. And then Idris Elba's name, it's gonna be Matt Domino.
There we go. See, that's a good name.
Matt for Matt Damon, homage to that since it's Boston based, and then Domino because it just sounds cool. And then I forgot to mention as well the directors and screenwriter, super important. I think for screenwriter I'll start with that because it's a bad choice. I'm just gonna go with Sorkin. I mean, if you're not picking Sorkin here, what are you doing? Now that I think about it, maybe like James Gunn. That's not bad for sort of this because he can do the little comedy, little love stuff as well. It's kind of his specialty. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I agree that he could make a good version of this movie, but also I feel like a movie made by anyone else would be a better version than the James Gunn version. Like James Gunn would make a really good version of this movie, sure, and it would probably like make a lot of money and it would be funny and like I think he's like do you want it to be that humor, like that sense of humor? I'm kind of over that sense of humor a little bit. And like the soundtrack would be so annoying for this.
The soundtrack's it's non-existent here. It's not. This isn't Guardians.
We have to think about it. But he did it for Suicide Squad too.
Yeah, but that's a good movie.
And like
too.
I don't want he's too bright too. He's too colorful. I don't want this. I want this to be drab.
You'd have to that's why he's just writing it. He's not directing it.
I guess that's fair. So we're going like Scooby-Doo. Yeah. Okay.
Sort of.
So yeah, I mean Scooby-Doo 2.
Haven't seen him.
Is there a Scrappy-Doo character?
Scrappy's a guy. And then directing this, I think is a good choice. I'm going with the Russo brothers.
I was actually gonna say that for the writing. I was like, maybe,
Yeah,
but I guess
because
they don't. They don't really write a ton of stuff. So
yeah. Well, I mean, they've done the sitcoms, and then obviously they came into the MCU, so they can they can definitely do the comic book. I feel like branching out a little bit and doing the spy as well would be cool for them, something different. And then they still have that comedy to fall back on, of course, which is their start and everything. But yeah, I think that would be a good team to run this type of movie. I think I pretty much covered everything, right? Oh, I could talk about the movies that inspired me.
Hold up.
I think are pretty relevant.
I wanted to talk about the Russos real quick.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, I was just gonna say like I think the Russos are a really good pick there. Like you said, the sitcom stuff. Like I'm really a big fan of them for the stuff that they've done. They did like Arrested Development, Community for a really long time. Stuff that is what got them noticed into the MCU. And then they created some of the best stuff in the MCU. I'm not as big of a fan of the Captain America movies as everyone else is, but
ludicrous.
It's generally seen as like the better of the movies, right? The more appreciated ones. And then obviously Infinity War and Endgame are top tier stuff. So they would have had to try really hard to screw that up, to be entirely honest. And different directors maybe could have done something a little bit more interesting.
Ooh.
Also, I will say Cherry, which is their film following the MCU, not something I'm a huge fan of personally. It just doesn't really work for me. Tom Holland's doing Tom Holland, and I think it's a terrible miscasting. But the movie's just kind of too slow for me, and it doesn't, it drags on and it goes in weird places.
Yeah. That's probably fair. I haven't seen that, but I mean, I gotta defend.
I could see them doing something with this if they do have something that's well written, which is why, I don't know, maybe. What do they do with a Sorkin script? That would be so interesting to me. Like, what are the roses?
That is true. That'd be a hell of a pairing, and probably
because here's the thing. I mean, Sorkin just needs to stop writing his movie or directing his movies. So.
Yeah, he needs to go back. Get off the camera, go back to the writers' room. But I'm talking shit to Aaron Sorkin. But in general, I think the Russos are proven. I think you don't give the Captain America movies enough credit. I mean. Winter Soldier.
No, like they I'm just
overrated at this point, but unbelievably good. And then fucking Civil War is one. That's a top 5 Marvel movie really easily. So I'm big fans of them, obviously. Also, one little detail I forgot to mention. Just throw this out. Idris Elba, whatever his name is. His character, he's basically the same character from Hobbs and Shaw that he played in that. So he's like Black Superman, basically.
Yeah.
But yeah.
He does he does a weird accent in that too. I think maybe it's just his normal like American voice because that's also not his real accent. But I back that. That's kind
of Black Boston Superman.
That's good stuff. That's what we need. That's really what we're missing. That's unfortunate.
Okay, so so the inspiration I'm taking from different movies to create this masterpiece.
You know how they did like The Dark Knight, and it was like, oh, this is the Gotham where like Batman's in Chicago, and like it's the Chicago Gotham,
right? And
then they did like the Batman, the Robert Pattinson one, and it's like a London-y New York Gotham.
Mm-hmm.
Can we get the Metropolis that's like Boston, and like Superman? It's like the Boston Superman.
Yeah,
it's just like. He's like from the fields of like the farms of Massachusetts, and he moves the Daily Planet is
instead of growing up in the Midwest,
because they always
grows up in Boston.
Yeah.
And loses his job as a farmer and has to move to Boston.
Yeah.
Superman grows up there.
But I'm not that's not even what I'm saying. So like I'm saying Metropolis is like
it's Boston. Yeah.
Like in the way that we turned Chicago, like Gotham was Chicago or Gotham was London.
Right.
We want Metropolis, but film it in Boston. Yeah. Whereas like normally they make it New York, basically. Let's make it Boston.
I say we just make that movie.
And he's not from the Midwest. He's from maybe he's from like New Hampshire or something. Like he's still a farm boy. Then he moves. His dad dies. He moves, but the big city he moves to. Yeah. Maybe he goes to school at Harvard. He goes. he goes. To,
let's just write this movie.
I mean, I feel like Matt Damon and Ben Affleck should write this movie, but
I thought you were gonna say Matt Damon is Batman.
Heck. No. They should write it. and like whoever like the young, who's like the next big up and coming Boston talent,
Ben Affleck.
Chris Evans.
Chris Evans. That's a terrible pick.
I'm just saying, I don't know who that is. I'm not up
Mark
on like
Wahlberg.
exactly. We both don't know, but this is a great idea. This is our third pitch. Okay.
Okay. My inspirations for my movie. The first one, for some reason, when I read that log line, this was the first movie that came to my head. I don't even know if you know what this is. It's The Ugly Truth. Do you know the movie with Gerard Butler? He is, I believe, like a super spy, and it's like a rom-com theme behind it. So that was my first thought for some reason. My second one is The Bourne Identity, mostly for how they shoot the action in that. I want this to be a good action movie, but with, stupid stuff going on in the plot. I want some good hand-to-hand stuff here. A little bit Shang-Chi, a little bit Bourne Identity. Not as quick as cuts and Bourne Identity and stuff, but, good, solid hand-to-hand stuff. And then the last one it's another inspiration in a different way. I want it to be inspired by The Crow, sort of in the way that it's shot. Also a little bit like the Batman and like Darkman or whatever, where it's dreary, it looks dark, it's nighttime, pretty much 24/7 here. It's always raining. The Crow, they always have those cool shadow shots. When we introduce the Mockingjay character, give her like a really cool entrance with the shadow and everything, sort of like a Crow-esque entrance. Yeah, sort of just be shot like that. But bring those together, bring the rom-com, bring the cool action, bring a little bit of the darkness in the way it's shot. I think it's a cool vibey movie. Obviously, it's ridiculous, and the cast is super fun, and the tone is super fun. But I want it to look serious.
I was thinking Keanu Reeves. You got to get him in the movie somehow.
It is a little bit John Wick-esque.
Yeah, I was thinking. If you still need a director, the John Wick director. I mean, he's done some good work across those movies. So maybe you get the stunt Chad Stilinski.
Is he a frat star, Chad? I haven't seen John Wick. I saw the first one. I mean, I haven't seen the second two, to be fair. But
he did the stunts on Matrix Reloaded. He was a second unit director for Captain America: Civil War.
Not the first Matrix, though.
And then he directed, John Wick, and he's a big stunt guy. Like he's done a lot of the stunt work.
Okay, that'd probably be a good choice. I don't know if he would nail the rom-com.
But he's directed the 4 John Wick movies. So
let's just make him stunt coordinator. I like what you're thinking here.
Sure, yeah. Get him involved. I think it could be an inspiration we can get. I think or maybe he kind of. I don't know exactly what happened with Nobody. I think maybe somebody involved with John Wick produced Nobody or helped make that Nobody movie. Mm-hmm. So whatever happened there, let's make that happen.
I heard that was okay. Yeah. Did you see that movie?
I wasn't as high as other people was. It was kind of like lame John Wick to me. So. And there wasn't a ton of emotional weight.
I think that actually got pretty good reviews, didn't it?
No, yeah. Like I know people that really enjoyed it. And I've heard great things. Just maybe I watched it at a bad time. He just gets the absolute.
I mean, I haven't seen it.
Saul Goodman gets the shit beat out of him. Is essentially what happens. Where like the thing is like in John Wick, I know you've only seen the first one, but it's him getting the crap beat out of him for like 2 hours straight.
Yeah.
But he's also kicking ass.
I
didn't feel like Bob Odenkirk was really like kicking ass in the way that like Keanu Reeves was.
He was just getting his ass kicked.
He was just getting his ass kicked, yeah. But he could take a punch.
Fair enough. Man.
Like there were some cool action sequences, but it really didn't seem like he was doing a lot. And then one of the Wu-Tang Clan members is in that movie.
Oh, really?
Kind of shows up. I don't know which one. I will look it up.
I could not tell you.
The RZA.
Okay.
So he's good in it. I do like him in it, but it was a strange moment he just was in the movie.
Shout out that guy.
Shout out RZA. Anything else you want to share about this film?
To wrap it up, I think this is a hell of a movie, honestly. I couldn't be prouder. I think I have actually really good cast. I think that's obviously we are pretty good casting directors. I think we both have pretty solid casts here. The plot for me is obviously the glaring issue. I'm not much of a writer, if I should say so myself. And it sort of just became, as I went along, more and more of a movie that I think I would enjoy, but maybe not others would enjoy. So bringing together like that comic book spy stuff, that's just stuff like I, enjoy watching. But like I said, the cast is good, I think. And I think I picked a really good director. So I'm happy with it for being 10 minutes. Probably couldn't have done much better. So I'll take it.
let's move on to We Have a Podgorithm.
Season 3.
Just as a reminder, the way this works is we have the Blockbuster movie card game. We draw a random movie every episode. Got to be different. Sometimes we get some redraws, but then we get 30 seconds and we just have to talk about it. So our movie's going to be Borat. Cody, take it away. 30 seconds. What are your thoughts on Borat?
Very nice. Yeah, I mean, Sacha Baron Cohen and Borat, comedy classic, I think. Actually, pretty good stuff. The first one I like a lot. I actually did not catch a sequel, so that's definitely on my list. I do want to watch it, but the first one it's just ridiculously funny. Everything Sacha does with that character is perfect. Perfect casting. Perfect. I mean, it's not even really writing. Most of it's just like improv stuff, which is even funnier. But yeah, classic story. Idiot comes to America. Idiots be idiots, but it's the best of that genre. So can't really complain.
Yeah.
A lot of iconic stuff.
By going first, you get the virtue of taking the very nice and not
Very
making it
nice.
fade out. So
You gotta do it too.
very nice. I agree with you. I actually watched Borat for the first time last year when the second movie came out.
Okay.
And it actually still, like, I think it does hold up, like, even though in like an age of, like, I think it's just on the right line and like of who Sacha Baron Cohen is and like what he stands for, and like I think it plays well. There's some stuff that isn't great, but like,
Right.
It's Borat. It's whatever. It's dumb. It's supposed to be that way. Nominated for Best Adapted Screenplay, which is pretty crazy. You're talking about writing. But yeah, fun film if you haven't checked it out. Subsequent movie film. I watched about 3/4 of, and then I've also seen the final scene. So. Good name though. Fantastic name. Both of them have, because Borat's real name is also very long.
Right. Some
cultural learnings of America for making of something movie film or something.
Yeah.
Make benefit glorious nation of Kazakhstan.
Kazakhstan. Yeah. That is a great title. To be fair.
Tough on the nation of Kazakhstan. They're not big fans of Borat, I don't think.
I guess not, but
recommendations would have been in.
I drink your milkshake. I drink it up.
It's actually been a while since we've done this, because for our last episode we didn't have that. Let's get the big one out of the way, Cody. Survivor. We haven't talked about it for the past 2 weeks.
So we missed a couple weeks. So
yeah.
The first week, Drea got blindsided in a massive move from Omer. And once again, you probably should not tell anybody you have the knowledge is power advantage. Probably not, because I mean, it was in 2 seasons. Both times backfired big time. But yeah, Dre went home. That was big. I mean, she was a player. She had an idol. She had an extra vote. Send her packing. She was about to get another idol too. So probably a good move by Omer. Tough thing is when she was going out, she's like, Omer did this. So probably going to put a massive target on his back, to be fair. And it did. He went home this week. But not the way I thought he would. It was a massive move from Marianne, which I love.
No, yeah. Well, first of all, I think Mike and what's his name, were being idiots. Like, why were Marianne was making a lot of sense to me. Like,
yeah,
I don't know why they were so like freaked out.
Yeah, I think what they were trying to say is, we know that they have an idol between them, so we might as well just do the safe vote and vote out Romeo. But at the same time, like, that's a massive move. He's not going to see it coming, and like, he could win immunity. So you if you have a shot on somebody who might win the game at the final 6, you should probably take it and not wait till the final 5 where there's idols everywhere. But yeah, I do agree with that. I mean, Jonathan, I think he's got about 0% chance of winning, which is pretty crazy looking back at his edit pre-merge. I think Mike.
If he wins immunity here, though.
Yeah, but he's not going to win in the end. Any sort of combination, because either Mike or Marianne is going to the final 3 because they both have idols, so they're both in the final 5, and either one could easily beat him in final tribal. I think Lindsay could beat him pretty easily too, but I think she might lose in fire making based off her edit. But yeah, my prediction. We've been doing predictions a little bit. I got Marianne winning this season. I'm fucking all in. I don't give a shit.
Hey man, I texted it as soon as she started. It was when she did well in the challenge. And then I texted you and I was like, she started talking and doing some strategy. And I was like, dude, I think Marianne might win this. And then Tribal happened where I just wasn't even doing the math, but I was like, oh yeah, she literally just needed Romeo. Like,
yeah, they split it and then she used her extra vote to take out Omer. But yeah, I mean, heck of a move, big time flashy move. And she's in the final four already. So if she can make fire, she's probably good. But I mean, what a cool story from Marianne. Like, such a fun character off the bat. You think she's gonna be one of the goofy ones, like voted out first. Jake, she turned into a massive player. So I love that. I'm rooting for her, but I'd like to see I like Lindsay, I like Mike, I like Romeo, Jonathan's whatever, but I think it's a good cast, and that's really
yeah.
So actually,
I liked Omar a lot.
Season, not a terrible season of Survivor. Who fucking knew, dude? It was the same shit as last season, dude. The pre-merge is whatever, but it kind of works in that merge scenario when you have 3 different tribes all merging at once in completely different places. It kind of works. So I don't hate the new seasons. I like the original format, 39 days, whatever. But the merges have actually been very good. And when you have like that many good players in like the final 8 or final 7, it is going to make it more interesting. So the end game seems to be good in this format. The first like 5 episodes seems to be, not the best, but I'm not complaining. The past 2 episodes were actually very good, I thought.
Yeah, I'm excited to see how it plays out. Definitely a few different people that all could have a chance to win. So I think there's 2 that probably couldn't, I guess. So.
I think Mike's got a chance. But
no, I'm saying I don't think Romeo or
Romeo.
Jonathan
Yeah,
can win.
That's true. Romeo probably regardless will get not too many votes. But I do have some other Rex.
Well, real quick, something that we also didn't get a chance to talk about. Moon Knight has ended.
I didn't watch the finale. That's what I was gonna say next.
Oh my! You still haven't seen it?
I haven't seen the finale. I don't know. The show's kind of fallen. The episode before that, where they were on the boat, like it was the psychological stuff. I don't know. Kind of lost me. I've been busy this week watching How I Met Your Mother, but I'll get up to Moon Knight. I'll probably bring it up if it's any good. I'm sure you have a bunch of thoughts on it too, so that's kind of tough. But
I actually don't have a ton of thoughts. It's okay. It's not. I think it's better than the previous few episodes. For the sake of that.
And then also, I think the Thor trailer came out. We haven't talked about that, have we?
No, we haven't talked about it. That came out a while ago. But
yeah, that was like last week. But what do you think about that?
Yeah, Thor. Dude, did a new trailer come out? Because this trailer came out a while ago, I feel like.
Did it? It came out like last week.
I don't even remember the trailer. It was so long ago.
All right, boo. I'll talk about it. I thought it was a fun trailer. It looks like what's the guy's name? I don't remember his name. From Gladiator. Russell Crowe's playing Zeus, I believe, which is fun. And we got a good look at Natalie Portman. She's looking buff, so I respect the hell out of that. But,
April 18th, 1 month ago.
Well, we never talked about it. I'm just bringing it up. I don't fucking care.
No, that's fine. Yeah. So Natalie Portman's buff.
True. But we haven't seen Christian Bale yet, which is stuff. My other Rex are just stuff that's upcoming. Stranger Things 4, May 27th. Book it. Dude, they keep releasing like more and more details. 2 of the last 3 episodes are 2 hours long. There's multiple movies in this season, and it's only like volume 1. There's still a whole nother season, I believe. So this is whack, dude. I am unbelievably
there's
hyped.
another part. So
right.
I was under the impression that they're releasing the first half of season whatever this is. Or am I wrong?
So this is the last season. I thought they were doing season 5.
Or is this season 4 and then because they're doing 2 parts for this season, right?
I don't know.
Yeah, so they're releasing what they're releasing at the end of May is only half of the full thing. They're releasing more in like July 1st or something.
So this is the last season, technically, though.
I think.
I don't know. We'll have to look at that. But I mean,
we're really informed.
May 27th is a massive day, though.
5 seasons.
Okay, I told you. So like that gets released on May 27th, and Obi-Wan gets released on May 27th. So definitely a cool time for TV. And actually, I think I'm gonna binge watch all the Star Wars shows before Obi-Wan if I can. I know that's not. It's like, it's a week from tomorrow, isn't it? I might not get through it all. I'm gonna binge watch the Mando and try to get through the other ones too. We'll see.
I mean, you just gotta watch Boba Fett. You don't have to watch anything else.
Yeah, I know, but who wants to
unless you want to watch all of the Clone Wars.
Well, I've seen
and Rebels.
I've seen those Clone Wars, but yeah. And then the other thing, you probably didn't see this. The Umbrella Academy season 3, they dropped a trailer actually. It looks pretty good. I mean, in general, obviously the whole cast is coming back, and then there's a new team, the Sparrow team or whatever. They look interesting. One of them's like literally just a block or a cube, so that's really funny. I guess another one controlled birds, which is really funny too. But I mean, it looks good. I'm jacked for it. I would assume it might be the last season, just because I don't know how big the following is, and I don't know if there's any more subsequent books that they've made. But looks like I'm jacked for it. I think it comes out in a couple months, so definitely be talking about that when it comes out too.
Yeah, I think I saw like a photo or something where they kind of did like the Elliot Page announcement thing, or basically where they said that the character would be transitioning as well, or transition.
I believe it was what's her name? It's like Vadia or something like that. That's not it, but I think they changed it to like Victor.
Yeah, I think I saw that. So that's cool.
Yeah.
For me, I've been in the movie watching a little bit, so I rewatched the Batman. Yeah, it's still good. It's a little, it's long. That's what the third act is sluggish a little bit. It's a little long. But we did a whole episode on it, so listen to that if you want to hear my opinion. Looper as well, another classic. I really like that movie. I think Looper's very good, actually.
Yeah. That's Ryan Johnson's best, honestly.
Yeah, Emily. I think Knives Out might be a perfect film. So, other than Daniel Craig, it's tough. Also, Stand By Me for the first time. That's pretty solid flick. Top Gun Maverick is coming out, so you know what? I watched Top Gun for the first time. I've never seen it. Man, they don't make like war propaganda like they used to. That's all I'll say.
Good soundtrack.
It's a different time. It's a better time, dude. The soundtrack of that is very good.
Fire.
Now all we get are just like superhero movies, and then like whatever day Mark Wahlberg is saving. It's like the only two films we get these days. We don't get the in terms of war propaganda, in terms of American imperialist propaganda. That's all we get.
Mark Wahlberg, shout out.
Mark Wahlberg films and in MCU films. That's all we've got for propaganda these days. And then Airheads, which is this like Brendan Fraser film. Shout out Brendan Fraser. You know who else is in it, Cody?
I don't think I've ever even heard of this movie.
Adam Sandler. You know who else is in it?
David Spade.
Steve Buscemi.
Big surprise. Adam Sandler movie.
Here's your three casts: Fraser, Buscemi, Sandler. Also, Joe Mantegna. Chris Farley shows up. David Arquette. It's just this like weird screwball comedy kind of thing where the three of them hold up a radio station to get their like rock band music played, and it's pretty decent. And you can check it out on some streaming service, because that's where I watched it with Mina. So
I think we got two great films coming here from KHAP Studios, maybe releasing in definitely these are some January releases. These are not the end of the year, so maybe next January 2023.
No chance.
These movies will be coming out. You know what the thing is? We could just make these movies, Cody. We could write them. We could cast them with not these people, but we could make them. But we probably won't, because I hate writing.
We wouldn't get the big releases that we wanted either. They'd probably go straight to Apple.
Streaming.
Apple TV Plus for sure.
But you could log in on Letterboxd, which is a reminder. I did make a film.
Yeah.
Contactless. Go check it out.
Go check it out. Actually,
on my Instagram, YouTube, Vocal Productions, or you just search Contactless / short film, and you can log it on Letterboxd. So
yeah, Letterboxd as well. Go check out my review too. Good stuff.
Yeah, there's some good reviews. There's some fun reviews. Give it a review. You don't have to give it a high rating, but people seem to. So I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. I've heard the only person who's given me a bad review is guest of the show, Colton Bourne. So No, I'm kidding. All love to Colton. It was not a bad
keeping it
review,
honest,
but
baby.
Colton was the only person to give me some like real criticism and feedback. So I appreciate that. I shout out to the guy.
He knows what he's talking about. Are you good?
Well, hey, Maymania is still going on. Let us know if you want to be on the show. If you made it this far in the episode,
yeah, props to you.
just tell us, and you're automatically you get to be on the next one of the next episodes.
Honestly, yeah. If you are still listening to this, like just text us right now. Be like, I'm still listening. Be like, okay, you're on the next episode.
Yeah,
because that's
absolutely. Big. And when nobody's on the next episode, just know nobody listened. So
nobody got this far. I'll tell you what, man. This is actually a lot of fun, and
we'll probably do this again.
I'm down. I think to do this with a guest would be a lot of fun too.
Yeah. We know some people. I mean, we graduated film school, so I got some friends.
But yeah, definitely. I mean, Mania, we're popping off. I think right now we keep pumping stuff out for you guys. If you have any suggestions of anything, or obviously if you want to come on, dude, just let us know. It's so easy to get on the show. It really is. But
yeah, and we got a couple pretty big ideas. And we're doing stuff like this where it's kind of we come up with it the week of, and we kind of wing it a little bit and we make it happen, and something fun turns out. And we have stuff like we did last Monday, which was a fun episode where we kind of planned it for a while, and so there's some stuff we've been planning. I'm excited to make it happen and excited for you guys to hear it. Follow us at KHAP Podcast, and we'll say goodbye. Peace.
Stay capping. Peace.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it. I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.